You have to understand your enemy. Masons and secret societies are the types of scum who integrate many different aspects and elements of life, many different sectors and sciences and religions, and they try to perform many duties and activities at the same time. So to make a long story short, part of what government experimentation, covert experimentation, gang stalking, organized stalking is about is to see who is stupid enough to believe that there are spiritual aspects of what is going on as far as them being demons who are doing it. The Luciferian doctrine is an atheistic Satanism. They mean to destroy non-atheistic Satanism in the long run. But of course there will be some atheists who think it's a joke, but as a movement they mean to destroy it. So what you're seeing is a lot of perps trying to push you toward the spiritual theories of gang stalking, so far as that these people are demons and they have some kind of powers, or it's the devil doing it, etc., etc. And it is the devil, but not in the sense that they want you to believe it. So they're doing it for techniques of mind control, techniques of population control, to refine their covert drugging methods, to refine psychiatric control, etc. Reminds me of Bob Marley's song, Could You Be Loved? Don't let them school you, or even try to fool you. Don't let them fool you. Don't let them change you, or even rearrange you. I believe that's how it goes. I might be wrong about the first part. We've got our mind of our own, so go to hell if what you think isn't right. So yes, absolutely, that is what this is about. And they are using the results to bring in, to refine their New Age religion movements, and to bring in Satanism as mainstream by identifying what qualities of religion attract people and what qualities of science attract people, so they can then try to put those qualities into the New Age Luciferian doctrine. With that being said, I would hope that you are gracious enough to forgive me if one day I stop everything I'm doing and I beat the fucking shit out of each and every last one of them, and worse. With that being said, the top martial artist is a Christian, and he has proven that psychiatry is a fraud. Modern psychiatry is a fraud, and most likely it won't ever change because of the driving forces behind it and the underlying philosophies that drive it. You have anti-Christian philosophies whose goal is to maintain social norms that are beneficial to what they're trying to do. Beneficial to the gay agenda, the feminist agenda, the atheist agenda, the Satanist agenda, the criminal agenda, and a racist eugenics, perhaps even transhumanist agenda. Now, for those of you who have been paying attention and actually listening to what I am saying and understanding it, you know that my behavior has dramatically improved since I've sealed the vent. Now, this couldn't possibly be a coincidence, that I decided consciously that, well, maybe my behavior is turning people off and giving them ammo. It was a lot easier for me to ignore that perhaps I should present my points in a calm manner, and perhaps that would come off as more articulate and concise and be noticeably more effective. So today's the 26th, and 5 days ago, I pointed out I sealed the vent on the 21st. So some arguments they may use that I've already heard my mother hint at, because as you know, my mother and father disagree with me about psychiatry. And my brothers don't exactly stand up for me, because it would be hard on them if they did. So the gas consistently comes at night, and I notice it before I think about it. So any idea that this is a delusional event that takes place in my head is removed. That would come as a result of thinking about a possibility, and then that possibility seeming to be true. Not the possibility, showing logical signs that it's real, and then you deciding that this is going on. That is called clever observation and careful perception. It's the same thing with the covert drugging, with the food. It consistently catches me off guard. I'll eat and I'll be working on something else or multitasking, maybe on Facebook, and then I'm like, oh, it hits me. And usually the gassing at night is what wakes me up. Also, I'll put a link, in the comments, and for those of you who are watching this on the computer, in the annotations, to show you that on record I have a perpetrator, admitting that they were told by an atheist to provoke me to go to the psych ward. Okay, so when you think about it, the argument that there's a trigger that triggers symptoms of a mental disorder, and that is what's going on, has been completely nullified. I mean, just the fact that they would have you believe that someone as perceptive as myself would have a mental disorder that they do not notice when others have pointed it out to them, while complete idiots would notice it and go along with it. How ridiculous is that? Someone who has always corrected himself when he was wrong would magically manifest an inability to correct himself. It's rather absurd and outlandish. So their frivolous ideas should be ignored. We would not see a consistency with my behavior as soon as I address what I said is the problem, while you see a lack of consistency with my behavior when I'm being drugged according to what they say is the problem and what they say is the treatment. And we are talking over 2 decades of them taking shots at it, making my life worse, making my life hell, pretending that I would not know as well as they do when my life is hell, when my life, shows a lack of functioning, a lack of brain function, a lack of functioning in society. If that is their argument, then explain this to me. How come I have proven my point beyond any doubt in my drugging playlists? And I have noticed my behavior improved after I sealed the vent. Doesn't that seem to completely nullify their argument in a way that forces you to concede my point, unless you are a complete idiot? One more thing. Perhaps they would argue that what they have presented, what mental health has presented on record, is in my head as well. The side effects, the ones I've highlighted: confusion, difficulty or labored breathing, headache, joint pain, muscle aches and pains, nausea, rapid weight gain, shakiness in the legs, arms, hands, or feet, trembling or shaking of the hands or feet, absence of or decrease in body movement, blurred vision, change in walking and balance, clumsiness or unsteadiness, degenerative disease of the joint, difficulty with moving, dizziness, faintness, or lightheadedness when getting up from a lying or sitting position suddenly, fast, irregular, pounding or racing heartbeat or pulse, lack of coordination, leg cramps, loss of strength or energy, muscle pain or stiffness, muscle tension or tightness, pains in the stomach or abdomen, possible radiating to the back, shakiness and unsteady walk, slurred speech, swollen joints, trouble with speaking, uncontrolled movements of the arms and legs, unsteadiness, trembling, or other problems with muscle control or coordination, and so on. And those are just the ones I've highlighted because they have to do with impairing my ability to do martial arts. Not to mention, while I was going to the University of Phoenix, the best grades I was given happened to be when I was off psychiatric medication. And the worst were when I was on psychiatric medication. Yet, they would have you believe that they know better than I do about when I function well. And let's not forget that a psychiatrist is supposed to ask the patient, have you had symptoms? How are you doing in life? How are things going for you? To help them determine how to adjust the medication. All of these irrefutable facts, while the whole time they would have you believe that they know what is best for me. And I am completely out of touch, 10,000 valid sources or not, 20 years of arguing with them about psychiatry or not. A bunch of unscrupulous, putting profit over patients, putting control on behalf of the ruling class over patients type of bitches would have you believe that they're immoral, greedy, unchristian, out of touch, spiritual prostitute selves know better than I do about what is going on in my life, what is best for me, and what are the symptoms, if any, of, we'll say, mental illness. Thank you. As I was taking off my sweater to get ready to go to take a shower, I realized there was a few things that I forgot to mention. One, if you do not see the link either in the annotations, if you're on a computer, or in the comments on any device, then perhaps the same people who want to control you have used YouTube to screen them out. Two is the one exception to my behavior, and it's not really my behavior, but what I am saying is the video where I'm waving the wooden sword. Last time I checked, it had 230 views, 200 more views than any other video, and it just happened to be the one where I am saying the most controversial things that people who suffer from extreme conformity would have a hard time swallowing. But for those of you who do not understand, it is a very blatant display of artistic expression, showing that I am rubbing in the fact that I've sealed the vent, and that I am important, and that I consider myself to be the greatest revolutionary in American history that America has ever known. Now, at first, this might seem like an extreme claim or an absurd claim, but when you truly think about it, of course, every revolutionary believes that they are the greatest revolutionary, unless, of course, they lack self-esteem. You know, I'm the greatest in terms of what I am saying, what I am risking. I'm risking just as much as every other revolutionary, except for I am more correct than they are. Perhaps I am giving you the entire truth, but for the sake of humility, I may be mistaken about one or two minor, insignificant details. So that is important that you consider. That you consider this as well. Now ask yourselves, why would it be that one random video that gets so many more views? There's not more tags or descriptions. It's because they are trying to play me out as if I'm crazy in the eyes of all these social conformists. Bob Marley said, do not let them change you or rearrange you. Don't let them school you. Don't let them fool you. You've got a mind of your own. Ironically, in the video, I say that I always catch myself. A lot of people are trying to play me out. Like my mom, she sewed my patch on my martial arts skis in ways that make me look nuts, or that feed into the misconception that there's something wrong with me. This is someone who's always sewed things, has her own sewing kit, never had anything wrong when it came to sewing patches on my sweaters at private school. But anyway, Bob Marley says, rearrange ya, not rearrange ya. And it was on drugs, they were covertly drugging me. When I was listening to this, because I recently bought it, about 2 weeks ago, the album again, I forgot what it's called, but it has Could You Be Loved on it. And so when I was listening to it, it sounded dead on like derange it. I'm asking myself, why does it say rearrange it? I'm like, are you sure it's not rearrange it? So today, after 5 days or so of them being unable to covertly drug me, I listened to it again and it clearly said rearrange it. Just another one of countless examples to show you how the drugs they use, psychiatric drugs, covert drugs, mess up your mind, mess up your thought process, and so on. And that the people who are drugged this way because they do not want them to be leaders, we should make it a high priority to make them leaders. Thank you. Theories of gang stalking. So far as that these people are demons and they have some kind of powers, or it's the devil doing it, etc., etc. And it is the devil, but not in the sense that they want you to believe it. So they're doing it for techniques of mind control, techniques of population control, to refine their covert drugging methods, to refine psychiatric control, etc. And they are using the results to bring in, to refine their New Age religion movements, and to bring in Satanism as mainstream by identifying what qualities of religion attract people and what qualities of science attract people, so they can then try to put those qualities into the New Age Luciferian doctrine. With that being said, I would hope that you are gracious aspects of what is going on as far as them being demons who are doing it. The Luciferian doctrine is an atheistic Satanism. They mean to destroy non-atheistic Satanism in the long run. But of course, there will be some atheists who think it's a joke, but as a movement, they mean to destroy it. So, what you're seeing is a lot of perps trying to push you toward the spiritual. You have to understand your enemy. Masons and secret societies are the types of scum who integrate many different aspects and elements of life, many different sectors and sciences and religions, and they try to perform many duties and activities at the same time. So to make a long story short, part of what government experimentation, covert experimentation, gang stalking, organized stalking is about is to see who is stupid enough to believe that there are spiritual acts. Reminds me of Bob Marley's song, Could You Be Loved? Don't let them school you or even try to fool you. Don't let them fool you. Don't let them change you or even rearrange you. I believe that's how it goes. I might be wrong about the first part. We've got our mind of our own, so go to hell if what you think isn't right. So yes, absolutely, that is what this is about.